By day, you work at a job that simply doesn't satisfy you. It's likely not a career, but simply a job. It pays the bills. It puts food on the table. But it doesn't light a fire inside of you. It doesn't fill you with a sense of, I can do it. It just is. But then there's the nighttime, when the rest of the world winds down. In the late, dark hours of the evening, a creative fire gets stoked inside you. The wheels of your brain kick in, the ideas start flowing. You feel a sense of excitement and adventure. You're doing what you know you're meant to do. And yet, there's a loneliness to it all. You work in isolation while others sleep. You wish you had people to bounce your ideas off of, a shoulder to lean on when something goes wrong. Others to applaud your achievements, no matter how big or small. People to encourage you to follow your dreams and goals. Solopreneurs, dreamers, builders, creators, resellers, makers, problem solvers. Like-minded people who want something better. We're here, and we're ready to listen and to help. Welcome to the Night Shift.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Misti Media Diner. Welcome to the Friday Night Hang here on the Night Shift. How was everybody's week? Everybody make it through okay? Come out unscathed on the other side? I had one of those low motivation weeks. One of those weeks where like you have all the best intentions of everything you want to get done. Hey, Sonia. You have a to-do list a mile long, and you have everything kind of sculpted out as to what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, and the best laid plans and all that. And then just mentally, you just don't get your shit together, and the whole week kind of ends up looking like meh. Like you accomplish a few things, but not. Hello, Karen, and welcome from southeastern Wisconsin. The dairy, Wisconsin's the dairy state, right? I think that's where you got cheesehead, so it must be the dairy state. Welcome. Nice to see you. But don't you hate it when you have that week that starts out with the best intentions and it's just meh? That was definitely me this week. I mean, I had so many things I wanted to get done for the publishing house because we've got a lot of deadlines. Oh, hey, Warren. It's like stealing people's names. It was one of those things where we have so much going on at the publishing house right now. We have a lot of authors that have events going on, and so there's this sort of mad dash to get a flurry of publishing done in a very short period of time, and lots of author orders, for books, for events, and things like that. And you would think that would just be like really energetic and would just light a fire under you, and then not so, not so much. I'm the type that gets a dopamine hit when I mark something done off my to-do list, no matter how small. It's that feeling that I've done something. That dopamine hit just kind of didn't hit the same this week. Not the same way as, like, I don't know, murdering your enemies and throwing them off the train to Shanghai. I mean, I would think that's a much bigger dopamine hit than what I got all week. So, Mike. Hello, Mike. Mike is here from the January Auction House. If you guys have not seen his fantastic interview with me here on the Night Shift, please do check out the link. Should be under lives and should be under the Night Shift. That was another thing that was on my list this week. Had every intention of going in and cleaning up the Misty Media homepage on YouTube, and getting everything more organized so that all the night shift stuff was together, all the author interview stuff was together. Uh, that was the goal. Uh, and apparently I did the whole, okay, I'll work on the squirrel, and just didn't got halfway there. got partially organized. Uh, so yeah, it was just one of those weird energy weeks where it's you're well aware of what it is you need to accomplish. Uh, you just don't. Um, we I did I was able to get a cover done for one of my authors that, excuse me, oh, the week is catching up with me. Did manage to catch up with one, cover design with one of my authors, and that was good because I actually thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to be a little more difficult. Um, Not that he's hard to please, but he kind of it's kind of his first major book, and of course he wants it to be good. He wants the cover to be something he's proud of, and I totally get that. Um, but we managed to finish that and get that done. Um, got a bunch of books off to my guy that John that does all of our layout. So that was a good thing. Um, got some hardcovers going. We haven't done a whole lot of hardcovers since we opened our doors, mostly because they're really expensive when you do them print on demand, and I can't see doing giant print runs and killing tons of trees for the sole purpose of uh, books that might have to be pulped later if they don't sell. It's one of the reasons why I love print on demand. Less of environmental impact. Um, I mean, if ebooks were stronger, I probably would just be all in only on ebook, uh, just for the sake of trying to protect the environment a little more. But which was the original idea behind my last publishing house. Um, but people still want paperbacks, and it's still a big percentage of the sales. So I stick with print on demand. It's kind of how I reconcile with myself that I'm not destroying the environment by being a publisher. Um, but they I don't even know. Oh, the hardcovers. So I've done very very few hardcovers, but we've had some titles lately that just really really seem to warrant it. So Murder on Vacation by Gerald Elias is coming out in hardcover, um, which I think is a great addition. Plus, the author is absolutely fantastic about promotion. I mean, he's out there all the time, constantly uh, finding new and clever ways to sell his book, and totally unafraid of calling bookstores and other places to try to set up signings. He's had signings all over the place at restaurants and coffee shops and bookstores, and he's on vacation back east, and he had books sent out there. So I mean, it's really I kind of felt like he needed to be rewarded uh, and get a hardcover version of that. The other one, just the more I go back and read it, the more uh, I think it needs to blow up, and that's Ray Tabler's. Uh, he has a sci-fi book called Smitty's Guide to Interstellar Bartending. Um, it's hilarious. Like I mean, I had read it already, and then while working on production of the book, I realized just how funny this book is, and just how well done it is. And I thought, you know what, this is a book that also really needs to be in hardcover. Um, so I don't believe in doing the thing of uh, releasing a book in hardcover, and then waiting 9 months and releasing it in paperback. That's an old style cycle. All it does is alienate readers who can't afford to buy the hardcover in the first place and put them off for a year. So I just believe that if you're going to do a hardcover, you release it at the same time as the paperback and the ebook. This way, people have an option. Um, Plus, hey, Christmas is right around the corner. Oh, excuse me. My goodness, that's rude. Um, so I'm thinking, hey, get those hardcovers out now, because we got to think about fourth quarter. I mean, here we are. Can you believe it's almost September? I I, I don't know where this year went. I mean, it's been crazy busy, but I'm kind of stunned that it's almost September 1st, which means I've only got like 2 more months of this god awful heat in Las Vegas, um, and then I will be saved. Um, but I this year's going by in a blur, and I'm realizing that fourth quarter's coming, that gift giving season. Um, Although I can't say that it's weird. You would think that in publishing, with books, you would see this giant spike in sales for the Christmas season. The problem is everybody and their uncle is out there promoting books, um, during that same time period. Anybody who's got anything to sell, is out there trying to make their money in that fourth quarter, and that's tough. You're up against you are competing with a slew of other products for people's eyeballs, and if you don't start early enough, uh, you don't have a chance of capturing those sales. So, um, one strategy is to push and release things in January instead, when there's fewer eyeballs. But then you've got the other drawback, which is people have spent all their money, and the holiday bills are coming in, and nobody really wants to go out and buy a book. And at that point, there's no gift giving going on really. So, so yeah, it's kind of torn. Let's see. Sonia says, if any of your authors will be at Dragon Con, Kim and I may be able to assist. At this point, I don't think they are. Um, I should probably get off my butt and go. I need a cheap excuse to get out of Vegas. Um, I need a cold excuse to get out of Vegas. And it was like, going to Atlanta is cold. Well, compared to 110. Also, something really weird is it is freakishly humid here in Las Vegas. We, I mean, we're desert. We don't normally get humidity, but this is kind of monsoon season, and the air is just so heavy with water, but no rain. The rain just doesn't. You feel like you could wring out. You could just go outside and wring out the air and get that water, but it is not coming out. So I would deal with a really good thunderstorm. You just feel it coming. Like you really need a good thunderstorm in there. But so I'm very envious of all of you who are living somewhere right now that you have thunderstorms, and and you have real weather, and weather that isn't like 110. I just want to go and sit in my refrigerator all day. So what's going on with all of you? What happened? What happened with all of you this week? Tell me something good. Tell me something bad. Did you read a good book this week? I always tell you guys, go out, find a good book, read a good book, come back and tell me all about it. Tonight's beverage of choice, unsponsored, is Coke Zero. Why is it Coke Zero? Because I'm all out of Pepsi Zero, and this makes me has the sads. Let's see. It's Ellen. Hello, Miss Ellen. Oh, good to see you. I was just telling all the folks how irritating the weather is at the moment, here in the desert. Ellen is just down the road from me a piece by a couple hours. Um, Ellen, is it as humid where you are as it is here? It is just insanely humid in Las Vegas. I mean, not only is it really hot, but the humidity is nuts. Um, you could just, I mean, I haven't felt it that like since living in Florida, and there's no rain. So just curious if in your neck of the woods of the desert, you are feeling the same thing. Uh, yeah, Sony says not downtown Atlanta; it's a concrete hotspot. Same girl. I get the whole point of pulling up the grass in Nevada. Like, they pay big incentives for people to xeriscape and get rid of their lawns to cut back on watering and all that thing. But there is nothing to hold any of the water or weather in place because it's just all dirt and sand now. Um, so it's been sucky. Warren says rain today in the low 70s. I hate you. I hate you a lot. I would take that in a heartbeat right now. Ellen says it's been up in 30% on and off, but we did have flash floods last. You know, I get that it's supposed to be monsoon season, but doesn't that mean we should actually be monsooning? Uh, we had, I think we had like 1 or 2 days that we had some decent thunderstorms. Like I love me a good thunderstorm. There's nothing cozier than being inside, uh, sitting on your sofa, watching TV, your dog at your feet while it's thundering and lightning outside. Just really, really cozy. But I don't get enough of that. Um, but it was actually I get more of it here though than I did when I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's something about the climate out there. You never get thunderstorms. I mean, it just you'll get rain, but thunder and lightning and all that fun. Nah, you almost never get it. So when we moved here, uh, it was so nice to be back to having thunderstorms again. By the way, this past week was my anniversary with Luis, our wedding anniversary. Uh, it's been a long time. We've been together. We've been together for 21 years, which in gay years is like 60. And uh, we got married just about as soon as it was legal for gay folks to get married in the U.S. Uh, so it's been, oof, oh Lord, honey, 11 years I think that we're married now. Um, but after 21 years, it's just the till death do you part thing, and figuring out who's going to go first. Um, if I play my cards right, I can have the house to myself. Um, so yeah, I think it's 11 years, and oh, thank you for the congratulations. Um, yeah, it's kind of sad. Virtually all the people that were at our wedding are now divorced, um, or with other people. I think I think only two people that attended our wedding, I think, are still with the same people that they came to the wedding with, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and that's weird. But I think if you had ever told me I'd be with somebody for 21 years, uh, that annoyed me so much every single day, I would have told you were nuts. Um, nah, he's a good guy for the most part. Don't tell him I said that. We don't want to, inflate that ego any more than it already is. Sonia says here in Rochester, New York, we're getting 2 days hot, 2 days of thunderstorms, then repeat. Good old Rochester. I'm a Syracuse boy originally. Uh, I miss that. I miss snow, Sonia. I may be crazy. I know people are always in one camp or another, right? There doesn't ever seem to be anybody that lives in the middle of weather, right? There's nobody that's like, oh well, I like to just have the hottest summer and the coldest winter, and you know nobody ever lives in the middle of that. Uh, I would do anything to go somewhere cold. I really would. Ellen says Doug's mother gave us 6 months. That's 40 years ago. After 10 years, she got the idea I was in for the long haul and she gave me a pair of diamond stud earrings. Wow. 40 years is impressive. 40 years is just impressive. It's kind of sad is when you get to that point that you realize you're not likely to live long enough to get to like a 50th. Like I know from a previous conversation you started early. Um, you were what, 10, 11 when you got, no, no. But I know you married young. But it's like, I'm wondering, are you already making plans for your 50th? Are you, do you guys have big plans for like a destination, uh, vow renewal or something like that? Sonia says, I remember watching the streamcast of your wedding. Yeah, it's so funny now too, when you think about, uh, the technology of what we had to do then to stream the wedding and like how much easier it is now. Um, it was complicated, uh, to do a stream back then. Um, I can't remember the website now that we did it through. I know I still have it saved as a link somewhere, but I remember you had the idea of streaming anything from a phone or whatever was like never gonna really happen. Uh, wow, 46 years next month for Warren. Dang, that's impressive right there. That's very impressive. Snow is overrated. I was born in the Bronx, got too acclimated to Florida, anxious to get and stay in Atlanta. Um, well, I mean, did your mom ever stop being in love with the tropics? Because I know that I know she was from tropical climes, and uh, I I wonder if did she ever get tired of was she ever a cold weather person, or was she always did she always like it warm? Um, I miss your mom. I was thinking about her. I was thinking about her the other day. I was having a conversation about. I was having a conversation with somebody about how few people uh, in my life have ever really been supportive of what I am or who I am or what I do. Tooch, good evening, Tooch, my brother from another mother. Good to see you, man. But yeah, I was talking to somebody about that, and Sonia, your mom came up because uh, I remember just how awesome she had been um, to me all the time. Uh, I mean, she just was really, uh, she took me on as her own son, and she was an awesome woman. Not to not to bring it all down, but she was one of those few people that was always in my corner, like you, like Kim. Um, so I was missing her for a bit there. Ellen says I could go for a little more spring and fall, but I still don't miss New England winters. I don't know if it's because I grew up my like first 6 years, and I'm itching like crazy. Um, I don't know if it's because I like my first 6 years were in upstate New York, uh, so like you have those kid memories of what the seasons mean, and Halloween in upstate New York is very different than Halloween anywhere else. But all the holidays are like, and you have to tell people that holidays have a different smell uh, when you live up north. Um, Halloween doesn't smell like Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving doesn't smell like Christmas. Um, they each kind of have their own independent scent, and uh, people who haven't lived through that don't get that. They don't understand that, and I don't know if it's the nostalgia for that I miss versus the actual being cold. Um, I mean, I think it could probably be a combination of the two. Uh, so he says, "Nope, Jamaica ran through her veins to the end." Um, if you guys love that Jamaican accent, that wonderful tropical island accent, oh, Sonia's mom absolutely had that. You never want her to stop talking because it was just like a beautiful voice. It really was, and a beautiful woman. I mean, just so kind. I mean, she was a she was the walking embodiment of love. She really was, and I mean, you talk about a woman who went if she knew you and she liked you, she loved you, and she loved you 100% and with every fiber of her being, and she would beat up the bad guys for you uh, if anybody dared harm you. Like she was a ride and die. I mean, she really was. Uh, they don't make them much like her uh, anymore, unfortunately. And my mom was such a bitch that being able to have Betty as my kind of adopted mother was a godsend, because anytime I was around her, I felt uh, that real motherly love that I had always wanted. Alan says I lived in Bar Harbor, Maine until Bar Harbor. You lived in Bar Harbor until 18 and raised the kids in Connecticut for over 20 years. Um, Shuffling, slipping on ice and frozen toes. Yeah, I can't say that I missed the slipping on ice part, but I don't know, trudging through the snow. And again, it goes back to that thing of uh, that coziness, that thing of let there be a howling blizzard going on outside, but you've got that fire in the fireplace, and the wood crackling, and that smell of wood smoke, and you're on the couch with a blankie and a good book. Um, yeah, I would take that all the time. I probably would be very happy living somewhere like Seattle, where it's so rainy. Uh, other people I know say they would get really depressed, but I don't know. I really like that idea. Sonia says her mom's accent came out stronger when she drank her white rum. That's awesome. Um, I It's funny because I mean Sonia knows that I for the most part grew up in Florida, and worked a number of years in Georgia as well, a little pocket of Georgia called Brunswick, and I do have a Southern accent. Um, it's not major. It's not like major twang, but when I get tired, it really starts coming out, and you can definitely hear it in my voice. The more tired I am, and the y'alls start getting a little stronger, and the uh, yeah, um, accents are awesome. Uh, so yeah, I get to thinking this time of year all the time that uh, how where it's almost September, kids are going back to school, and fall is around the corner. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and uh, then we get in my favorite time of year, because my absolute favorite time of year since I was a kid uh, is that back to school time through New Year's, and then I go through a big old depressive phase in the beginning of January when the holidays are all over, and there's nothing really to look forward to um, for another 8 months, and another stretch of heat uh, to look forward to show up a few months later. So every year for the last 4 or 5 years, I promised myself I would slow down and enjoy September through December. Um, and every year lately, it's kind of gone by in a blur, and never really decorated the way I wanted to for Halloween. And um, I'm the type that would leave a Christmas tree up year round if I could. If I didn't have if I didn't have other people that wanted it down, I would probably never take it down. Uh, I like the feel of it, and again, it's a coziness thing. I love being able to turn off all the lights and uh, have the Christmas tree on, and it's soothing. And I don't really care what time of year it is. It's hard not to feel relaxed and comfy and cozy uh, with a Christmas tree on. Sonia says the kids are already back in school in Florida and Georgia. Here too. Uh, they went back last week, I think it was, or the week before. Um, which again, it's that thing that's really hard to mark time, because it's like, well, didn't the kids just get out of school for summer, and now they're already going back? Um, and how many of you miss the childhood thing of school supplies? Raise your hands. I There was something about going off to your first day of school with like your new pencils, um, your new notebooks, and all that kind of stuff, and the smell of going back to school, and the smell of new school supplies. Um, I miss that. I was thinking about how in high school, actually it was middle school, I guess, when I first had my first locker. Uh, yeah, I had my first locker when I was in middle school, and I remember, I mean, from through middle school and high school, decorating the inside of my lockers with um, the advertisements from the newspaper for the movies. So cutting out like the movie posters from the newspaper adverts, and just coating my locker walls with them. Um, I just remember that being like such a big part of that whole back to school thing. Um, and I kind of miss that too. But uh, I do have a new project. Let me grab this. So uh, one of one of my online auction friends, Timeless Jewels, Timeless Jewels by Deborah, Timeless Jewelry by Deborah. Oh God, I hope I don't get her name. I hope I don't get her channel name that wrong. But she had, I don't, that's just not going to work, is it? I knew it. Stupid background. Uh, she had an auction with all of these really cool movie signs, the Mylar signs uh, that you see that kind of go like above the. I don't even know how to do this with this camera. I don't even know how. Borat is that one, but you know, like how when you go to the movies and not the movie posters, but like you'd have the little Mylar signs, like the 5x25s that would be above the times that showing of what movies are showing, or they'd have a thing on the wall with like all the movies that were showing, but not the movie posters, just the Mylar signs that go in the light boxes. Um, I She had an auction of like a bunch of them, and I've always wanted to have I always wanted to have like an office at home that was, felt like a movie theater. Um, so I picked up all of those movie signs. We've got movie sign. There's a if you know that reference, we've got movie sign. Um, so now I want to get a whole bunch of light boxes. I want to uh, set up some light boxes on the walls uh, and put the signs in them so it feels like a theater, and then be able to swap them out whenever I feel like it and have different movies. I have a ton of wall space here in the diner that is not doing anything. It's just bare walls. And we've signed another year on the lease, and we've been here 3 or 4 years and never hung a single picture on the wall. Um, so, am I this side of the diner is a mess. Like what you see over there, where like the patrons sit, that's one thing. Uh, my office here in the diner, yeah, not so pretty. Very, very, very disorganized. So if I can kind of get my movie theater thing going, uh, I think it would be a really comfy thing to be in. I also kind of always dreamed of the lighting in here being some kind of like purple neon light going all the way around, which I think would be really cool. So, oh boy, Sonia, you. It's so funny you say this. So I don't know how many of you remember a show. I think it lasted maybe 2 seasons, an animated series called The Critic, with John Lovitz as the critic. Um, I hated it. One of my favorite shows, but everybody at one point told me I looked like him. Even my own mother did. So I looked like the critic. Um, and now I really love the theme song, the theme music to that show, and I finally found it on a streaming service. I had not been able to find that for ages, and now I finally have it. So it's funny that you say that, Sonia, because I probably listen to the theme from the critic uh, at least once a day. It's usually it's usually my wake up music on my way to go to work, and then sometimes when I go to bed at night, it might be one of the last things I listen to. Um, but I've always had a big love for the movies. I People said, "Well, yeah, but you worked in theater. Don't you have a big love for theater?" And my take is always, "I'm not that gay. Um, you know, I'm gay. I'm just not that gay." Um, I worked in theater as a stage manager, but um, I'm not really into theater. I don't. I'm not a musical person. It's one of the reasons I think my ex and I didn't work out. Um, was never really into musicals. I do like a good play. Um, I do like a good story. Uh, good musical comedy with a plot. Um, There's no way anybody gets that reference either. Family Dog. If any of you have ever seen Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories, uh, there's a really terrific animated episode called Family Dog, which I believe is on YouTube. I think you can see it. Absolutely recommend checking it out. That was a great ep. But they're on their way out to go to the movies one night, and he's like, I just want to see a good musical comedy with a plot. I digress. So yeah, theater. Always been much more of a movie. Always been much more of a movie person than a theater person. Ellen says backstage is not the same as being an actor. I did lighting, sets, makeup, but never on stage. Yeah, I mean, I did. I did do some stage work, but very, very little compared to how much I stage managed. I used to be a professional stage manager in the Bay Area, so I worked at a lot of different theaters throughout the Bay Area, and then I stage managed two national tours um, that were for kids. So when it's funny because I wanted a different life by the time I was done touring one year, and I wanted to get off the road and have a normal job and find at that time I wanted to find a boyfriend and uh, start settling down. And what's funny is the moment I made that decision to get off the road, uh, I got everything. I ended up back in the Bay Area. I had an apartment, had a regular job, back working at Blockbuster again, and I met Luis within uh, just a matter of months of moving back. So it was probably a good time to leave theater. Um, Although I'll say I've kind of had a dream of working some stage manager stuff here in Vegas. I would love to. I would love to work on Blue Man Group. That's a show that I've always dreamed of being a tech on. Um, but I don't know. It's a hard thing to get into at my age. That's the problem. I've got the experience, but uh, like anything else, it tends to be a little ageist. Um, Ellen says, I do love a good musical. Hello, Dolly is one of my favorites. It's a good musical. Um, I wish I could say I had a favorite. I will say one of the best experiences I had seeing a musical was this would have been back in 90. No, actually, I guess it would have to be 80s. No, because it's post college. So I guess we're thinking, I guess we're talking like 95, 96, maybe. I went to London. Finally took myself to London. And while I was there, I saw Phantom. But the big one for me was Barry Manilow had written a show called Copacabana, written a musical called Copacabana, and I had the best time uh, watching Copacabana. I think it made it to the States eventually. It didn't survive very long um, on Broadway, and a lot of people like don't even know it exists. Never heard the soundtrack um, or cast recording. I'm sorry, uh, but that was a truly unique experience. That musical. Sonia says, I find myself thinking in musicals. Is that anything like speaking in movie quotes? Uh, I think I've got a good movie quote for like every conversation. Uh, but the last time I was at the movies, how many of you have been to the movie theater anytime recently? What was the last time you guys went to the movies? What was the last movie you saw in a theater? I know that I haven't seen a movie in theaters since before the pandemic. Uh, so sometime before 2020 uh, was the last time I saw a movie in the movie theaters. I saw Love, Simon. I'm pretty sure is the last movie that I saw in theaters. I haven't seen anything in there since then. I can't go to the movies with Luis. He falls asleep within like 2 minutes of a movie, even if he's interested in it. He just does not have that ability to stay awake during a movie. Um, it's endearing. It's also annoying. So I can't see us paying a ton of money to for tickets and popcorn and all that for him to be asleep within, you know, 2 minutes. As it is, if we want to watch a movie, we have to watch it over the course of like 4 days when we have dinner. That's how movies roll in our house. Um, but I did, actually, I take that back. I think it actually has been more recent than uh, I think it might. I can't remember if it was pre or post pandemic, but they re-released Back to the Future in movie theaters some years back, and I remember that I did go and see that again on the big screen, and that was awesome. Sonia says Deadpool and Wolverine was my last. I really need to see that. I love the Deadpool movies, and I still haven't seen that one. I've seen enough clips by now that I've probably seen the whole movie, but just not in like the actual running order. Uh, I took my youngest to see the latest Minions movie a few weeks ago. Yes, that absolutely counts, and I love Minions. I think Minions are some of the best, uh, some of the best characters to have been created uh, in recent times. I think I love them to death. I really do. I I've really thought about collecting, starting to collect Minion stuff. I don't have much, um, and I love Bob. I think Bob's my favorite one, but I love me some Minions. I think they're awesome. And I actually liked the standalone Minions movies better than I liked uh, just the Despicable Me movies. Wow, the Iron Giant. Oh, that's such a great movie. That is one of those movies that just does not get enough credit uh, for just how darn good of a movie that is. I think it's one of those overlooked gems. Uh, Killers of the Flower Moon. That's fairly recent, right? Is that within like the last 2 or 3 years? I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. Seriously, the Minions movies are pretty good, and there were a few jokes for adults. And that's what I like about uh, all those kind of movies, like the Shrek movies, the Despicable Me movies, the Minions movies. Um, it was something Disney did for a little while of getting a couple of those, getting some jokes. Like Aladdin is thanks to Robin Williams, is like peppered with jokes that'll fly way over the heads of kids, but will land squarely on the heads of the adults that are watching. Um, but it's also one of the reasons why I love all the Muppet movies, because the Muppet movies, it's so obvious how much of that humor is written for adults versus the kids, and I think that's what I do love about the Minions stuff too. Is it's that thing. I have a quote that I use all the time with my authors um, from the Great Muppet Caper. Uh, there's a whenever I'm reading a manuscript, and they're just over describing. I mean, they're just telling you everything, like leaving nothing for discovery. They're just info dumping everything about the entire story. Uh, in and you're just like, okay, why? Um, I always end up writing the author. I'm saying, okay, your story is exactly like what happens in the Great Muppet Caper. Um, Miss Piggy goes to interview for a job, uh, and the woman suddenly starts telling her uh, all about her brother Nicky and how her brother Nicky is no good, and he's done this and he's done that, and she wouldn't be surprised if he tried to steal the baseball diamond. And Miss Piggy looks at her and goes, "Why are you telling me all this?" And she says, "It's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere." Um, and I end up using that line all the time with my authors. It's like, you are really suffering from, you know, it's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere. The donkey in Shrek is my favorite. Why am I not surprised, Mike? You like that sassy? I'm making waffles. Uh, 2023 for Killers. Okay, okay, so yeah, not that long ago. Uh, there's only been one Blade. The ones that I haven't seen that I really need to catch up on because I uh, hear they're the best of the breed is I haven't seen any of uh, the Spider-Man movies with, of course, his name's going to go right on my head right now. Not Tobey Maguire, not Andrew Garfield, the other guy, the other Spider-Man. Um, I haven't seen any of those movies, uh, and yet I hear they're really good. Um, I'm behind. I need to catch up. Um, I one of the, Tom Holland. Thank you. God, I don't know why I couldn't come up with that name. Uh, but I need to see all the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I haven't seen a single one. But now that he's part of the MCU, now I don't know if I can watch him because I've missed most of the MCU movies, um, and I don't have Disney. I don't have Disney Plus, so um, Mike says I want to see The Brink of War, the movie about Reagan and Gorbachev. It looks good, and I love historical stuff. I love historical stuff when it's done well. Um, I'm with you there. Some of it, some of it when they don't quite get it right, uh, or the actor is just not the right one for the part. Uh, that's when it kind of gets a little for me. But um, just like I haven't seen what's the Oscar winner about the the guy that built the atom bomb. Haven't seen that one either. Um, Ellen says I don't think I've ever seen one comic book movie. Never was my thing. Everybody has seen Superman. Don't tell me you've never seen one. Everybody has seen Christopher Reeve's Superman. Even if you don't like superhero movies, everybody has seen that. Um, just like almost everybody has seen the original Batman. Almost everybody, but everybody has seen Superman with Christopher Reeve. It was impossible to miss it. Uh, Impossible to miss it back in the days of HBO and like the early days of HBO when it would air, every 2 hours or something. Um, Everybody saw that one. Let's see. He's an acrobat and dancer. Spidey moves come naturally to him. He does look really fluid jumping around. I will say that. So, true story. Maybe it's TMI, but uh, as a little kid, I knew I was different. Uh, and I knew I was different because Spider-Man made me feel weird, that in a way that I couldn't explain. And when I got older, it became a crush on Spider-Man. Um, and so, uh, yep, still have the hots for Spider-Man. Oppenheimer, thank you. God, me and names. Do. You've seen clips, but you've never seen the whole movie? Alan. Alan, I'm relatively sure you're violating some kind of law if you haven't seen Superman. I'm pretty sure there's a statute out there somewhere that says you can be fined up to $1,000 for not having seen Superman. I'm don't quote me on it, but I'm at least in Wyoming, I think. We didn't have HBO. We lived in Maine. I still remember the early days of HBO. Uh, that's There were so many good movies back then that you cannot watch on streaming, and you can't buy on streaming. Um, the one I would really love to see again. Do you guys remember a movie from way back when, early '80s, with Al Pacino called Author, where the mom walks out and I think he's a playwright, and he's got like 6 kids or something that he's raising. That was like quintessential HBO watching that and Death Trap with Michael Caine, Christopher Reeve. Oh, and I cannot remember who plays the wife in it. Diane Cannon, I think. I think Diane Cannon is the woman, in Death Trap. That was another one of those movies that was just in constant rotation in the early days of HBO. Sony says you can watch the Tom Holland movies; they're not directly intertwined with the MCU plotlines. Is that really true? Because I thought the whole point of No Way Home and the current movie is because of things that happened uh, in the MCU. So, uh, we need to send Ellen DVDs. I agree. Ellen says we actually had a party line phone. Did you really? That's funny. Yep, he has to take care of the kids. Yep, that was. I remember that there being so many great lines in that movie, Mike. Um, like I just remember, even being that young, I could recognize like how funny and how well written that movie was. Um, and yet, this is why I think there's a why part of the reason why there's a big push that people are going back to physical media. Um, I I got rid of a lot of my movies when we moved from. I got rid of a lot of my VHS when we moved from the last house rental to this one. But I've managed, and I got rid of a lot of DVDs too. But now I kind of regret it. I mean, I don't have a working DVD player, so it's not like I can't have anything to watch them on. But I'm thinking of buying a combination DVD Blu-ray player and going back to collecting physical media because there's way too many movies that I want to watch that don't exist on any streaming service. Um, and I don't want to sit here and pay for 12 different streaming services to try to watch what I want. And, you know, buying a movie digitally is asking for trouble because all it takes is one retailer to go, yeah, we're just not going to give you access to that license. You were buying a license to watch it, not to own it, and so now we're turning off that license and you can't watch the movie anymore. And now you're out money that you for something to watch. Sony, we don't have a DVD player anymore either. But they do make. I actually do have I do have a separate DVD player that plugs in my laptop. So it's actually possible for me to watch DVDs. Michael, there you are. I wondered where you were at tonight, buddy. Oh, I appreciate that. I was missing you. I was like, what is going on with where's Michael? God, your icon is so good. I love that image. Let's see. Oh, it sets up the MCU this time. I know. Ellen, we gotta take you back to the 20th century for a little bit and then we'll bring you back into the 21st. It's not all life is not all about watching cows. I know you like watching cows, but it's not all about that. There's more to it. Yes. Yep. Because Mike, you're a big movie guy too, aren't you? I've heard you talk a lot in your. I've heard you bring up lots of different movies during your auctions. Um, you're pretty much a movie fan too, aren't you? I was how old were you guys when you saw your first Disney movie, and what was the first Disney movie you saw? I grew up in a really small town, uh, a suburb of Syracuse called Manlius, and I mean you could go to the bigger movie theaters that were out by the mall or something, but in Manlius we only had one movie theater in downtown, and it was a two-screen theater, uh, really small. If I remember correctly, I think they were wooden seats, um, but they never showed a single animated Disney movie. They only showed live action Disney movies. So I saw Escape to Witch Mountain. I saw all the Herbie movies uh, growing up there, but I never saw a single animated Disney movie until I was in college. And I mean, I saw none of them. Uh, I think the first Disney movie I ever saw was I can't remember the order they came out. So, but it's either Beauty and the Beast or it's Aladdin, one of the two. And I saw it in a second run movie theater. But then I went to work for Waldenbooks, and we used to sell all the Disney VHS in the store, and it was the only movies we were allowed to play on the screens inside the store. So by the time my tenure was done, as a store manager at Waldenbooks, I had seen all the classics. Um, 101. I remember we had 101 Dalmatians, Fantasia. I think we did have Aladdin. I don't think we had Beauty and the Beast. Sony says yes, collect physical media because the streamers remove content often. Yeah, and I mean, there's so many small. My thing is, I've always been a big fan of independent cinema and like really small movies. Um, and none of those movies ever show up on a streaming service ever. Um, there was a really great movie that I saw when I was working at the Stanford University bookstore. Um, we had a art house movie theater there called the Aquarius, and although I was broke as a joke, I would save up extra money to be able to go see a matinee on Saturdays at the Aquarius, and I that's where I saw Shallow Grave with Christopher Eccleston, um, and I saw a really, really, really funny, great movie called Different for Girls, where a guy's childhood best friend has transitioned to become a woman, and how they deal with that. That was a great movie, and I'm pretty sure it was at the Aquarius where I saw Muriel's Wedding, which to this day is still one of my apps. I would love to stage Muriel's Wedding as a play. I would love to put that show on in a theater. I think that one needs to be done in a theater. Uh, Michael says, I missed the movie Cocoon. See, don't you regret now having gotten rid of all those DVDs? I absolutely do. I know I do. Uh, all right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, Michael. Never leave half naked people alone in your house. Never a good idea, man. But I appreciate you coming in. Alan says, I've been there, done that. I've heard sitting and looking. You have a badge. You got the Girl Scout badge for cow watching. Uh, Mike says, I like the older movies, 80s and 90s, but not the recent ones. Yeah, there's a certain charm that's lost, but, I think it also has to do with the era you grow up in, right? I mean, for me, 80s movies will always be king. Song of the South, wow. You saw the racist movie. Herbie the Love Bug was my favorite movie when I was a kid. Give credit where credit is due. The reboot they did with uh, what is her name? I just had it. Lindsay Lohan wasn't bad. It was pretty. It was pretty true to the feel of Herbie. It's a shame it didn't catch on for a relaunch, but it was good. I was never a fan of animation. Sonia says I can't remember not seeing Disney films. Oh, Flight of the Navigator. Okay, but Flight of the Navigator versus the Last Starfighter. Who wins in a grudge match? Uh, it was Disney. Don't crush my dreams. I don't know. It's bad to go up against Michael, Mike, because I gotta tell you, Michael has like the steel trap memory for movies. He really does. Well, folks, just like that, that is another hour gone. My goodness, uh, I can't believe that. Um, I really appreciate you guys all being here tonight. It flew by in a hurry, and thank you all for being so chatty and for keeping me company. And it was a lot of fun tonight. Loved having it. Oh, Tron, absolutely. So we'll be back next. Actually, so I am going to be a busy guy. Next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will be co-hosting the morning show with Johnny and Mark. Mark is going to be out, so I'm filling in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for next week. Monday night, I will be on with Angie's Oddities. It's the first time I've been invited to be a guest seller on a show. I'm very excited. So it's her Monday market. I will be uh, selling Misty Media titles on her show. So I'm very, very excited about that. And then Monday night, we will have a live here. We're going to be talking about the role of the person in the company that stands up to the micromanager and why that role is so important. Not sure yet if we'll have an interview for Wednesday night, but Friday night we will of course be back with the Friday night hang. So keep coming back, folks. We're going to keep the shows coming, keep you entertained. I'm sort of thinking about spinning the night shift off to its own channel. I'm not sure if it makes sense to leave it here with the other Misty Media stuff, but since I do still talk a lot about publishing in this show, I might keep it here. I just haven't made up my mind completely yet. But I'll probably ask everybody for their feedback on that one. So, as I always say, folks, go out there this week, find a good book, read a good book, come back, tell me all about it. Have a really good week, and we will see you back here on the night shift on Monday. Good night, everybody.